Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. Fine, folks, I'm going to tell you straight that if you have not began the process to establish relationships with the actual bankers that are going to exchange your currency, you're going to be behind. If you have not began the process of establishing these relationships, you are not prepared for your exchange. And you will be doomed if you are not prepared for your exchange. This is not a shotgun approach where a bullhorn announcement will be made to tell you to go exchange. Why not prepare yourself? We have just in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room today, yet another member, CVC, says, reporting we are scheduled for meeting tomorrow for our third round with our wealth manager and their trust and accounting team. Folks, this member is meeting with the accounting department of a wealth management firm. Then we have One for Jesus who says, hey family, too long a time no see, but I have an appointment on Friday, local. Had conversation just now with wealth manager, and he's very friendly. Another member, hey family, just giving you guys an update. Met with my tier 1 bank for the 4th time. All is well, moving forward. Folks, you can click the link in the top of the description, and you can join the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room and meet members just like this, who at one point are where you are, but not establishing a relationship, and they're prepared for their exchanges. Why not you? Now, today, Goldilocks is sharing some extremely valuable information. Many of you have already heard Goldilocks mention that gold sets us free. Folks, we know, if you don't know by now, I'm going to tell you for the first time if you don't know, we must have gold for the RV. If we exchange into a fiat system and there's a bank crash, you have no protection at all on your new wealth. Gold is our protection on the value of the US dollar. Why is that important? Because you're exchanging into US dollars, ladies and gentlemen. You need something to protect it. What protects it? Gold. And Goldilocks is sharing today some extremely valuable information on the global gold standard and what Iraq is doing regarding gold in order for them to prepare for the RV. Let's jump right into Iraq and what they're doing. This is a part of Iraq preparing for the revaluation of the dinar. You may not understand it right away when I mention this, but bear with me. This is from Iraq, where the Minister of Transport is announcing the progress on what is called the Development Road Project. This is a project, folks, that where there are hundreds of thousands of infrastructure projects that Iraq has scheduled for years to come. But this is called the Development Road Project, which is a project that literally connects Iraq to Asia, Europe, and other parts of the world through a major development road project. Now, Iraq has contracts with various countries and companies from around the world to do the infrastructure projects. What Goldilocks is sharing is that this development road project is in its final stages of design and requires money. As this stage involves detailed engineering plans, surveys, and potentially environmental impact assessments, all of which necessitate funding. Funding to cover the services of these projects. Construction workers, architects, engineers, designers, all of the staff. These are hundreds of thousands of people that will be responsible for connecting Iraq to different parts of the world through this project called the Development Road Project. Well, why, Freedom Fighter? Are you mentioning this? Why is Goldilocks talking about this project? Isn't this going to be a project that's going to take years to finalize? Yes. But doesn't it take money to do this? Folks, you may not realize, but these contracts that Iraq has already signed, many of them with these countries and these private companies to do the development of this project, the RV is going to pay for these projects. This is why several months ago, we continually told you that in the budget, which is what's called an operations and expense budget that only covers salaries in Iraq and retirement benefits, that there would not be a rate change in the budget for the RV. The RV will pay for projects such as this development road project. That's where the funds will come from. So here Iraq is announcing that they're in the detailed design phase, which is expected to conclude by the end of 2025. No, that does not mean the RV has to wait until then. Actually, this is in our benefit. Why? Because, folks, and I'm going to try my best within a short period of time to explain this. But let's say, for example, you can have a project that won't be finished for 10 or 15 years. But it's the money to pay for it is done up front, guaranteed. How? One of the ways is from what are called financial instruments. Let me tell you what one instrument is. A bond. Iraq is actually paid in advance through bonds to pay for projects such as this. As the value of the dinar goes up, the future value of it is guaranteed by gold. Gold. Also, these projects, for example, the Development Road Project, 10, 15, 20 years in advance, where a bond can be floated, let's say 10 or 15 years in advance, they already have an idea of the value of the dinar and what it will be. And it pays for the labor, the equipment of these projects. Now, you must understand, as it pertains to the dinar, that these projects, this particular development road project, which is trillions in US dollars, will be paid in dinars. And the value of the dinar is projected to continuously increase because the demand for the dinar will go up as a result of this project as well. Iraq has so many different ways to value the dinar besides the World Trade Organization and all those 160 plus countries in the WTO that Iraq has already negotiated rates with. Iraq is more prepared than many people can even imagine. So this development road project, I'll just say this. It's already paid for 15, 20 years in advance. The design phase won't conclude until the end of 2025. Doesn't even matter. It's already paid for. How? From the future value of dinar in the present time. The future value of the dinar in the present time. And they can guarantee the future value, guarantee the price now of dinar, the value of dinar now, guarantee it, knowing the future value of the dinar, what it would be next month, 6 months from now, next year, 15, 20, 30 years from now. This is also why Goldilocks is sharing about Iraq and their gold. Globally, Goldilocks is sharing that recent data has come out that gold is considered the second most held reserve asset in the world. The number one asset is the US dollars, meaning countries around the world have different reserves. They have gold, silver, their own precious metals from their country as reserve assets. All of the countries, majority of the countries around the world, I should say, their number one asset, reserve asset, is the US dollar. Why? Because the US dollar has been the global reserve asset, the go-to currency for most countries. Well, that has changed. But with gold being the second most utilized reserve asset for countries, gold is generally considered a safe haven. Most central banks like Iraq, the Central Bank of Vietnam, and others have gold as a reserve to protect their currencies. Yes, for Iraq to protect the dinar from a potential crash. Yes, Vietnam has gold as its second largest reserve asset to protect the dong in the event of a crash. The US dollar in the US, the same. You must realize that gold, a standard, retains the importance of a currency and the value of it moving forward. So now Iraq just reported that out of 100 countries from around the world, there is a global organization called the Global Gold Council that does a inventory or audit on the gold reserves of every country. Out of 100 countries around the world, Iraq ranks the 29th country with the most gold reserves. Yep, little Iraq. Little old poor Iraq. Who? Yeah, think about it. Little old, previously war-torn Iraq. Not only do they rank 29th in the world in gold reserves, they rank third in the Arab world in gold reserves, right behind Saudi Arabia, which is one of the most richest Arab countries in the Arab region. Yes, Saudi Arabia, part of BRICS, and Iraq is right behind them in gold reserves. The CBI has been speaking with Goldilocks indeed very frequently in the last several months about gold. They've been consulting with Goldilocks about gold reserves. What you must understand, Iraq has been preparing very, very well, integrating themselves into the new global economy. Iraq's recent moves to build their gold reserves has enabled them to move into the future under a gold standard, a global gold standard. More and more, Goldilocks is sharing, is that we are witnessing Iraq become a resilient powerhouse in the global economy. Folks, when you're ranked, a country that is ranked 29th in the world in anything, that's no small feat. Iraq ranks in the top echelon of countries in gold reserve. There are countries that are larger, have more wealth than Iraq, but Iraq has more gold. What have they been preparing for? Iraq actually is one of the world's leaders in gold reserves. What is going to back our currencies for the RV? Gold. What's going to secure the value of dinar? Gold. The value of dong? Gold. The value of the US dollar? Gold. Iraq has 152 tons of gold. 152 tons of gold. I don't know if Saddam Hussein's gold toilet is included in that or not. That'd be golden. But folks, as Goldilocks always says, gold shall set us free. I want to remind you of something. We are, especially now that we're in January, we're in the beginning of 2025. And as the golden era is amongst us with the return of Donald Trump, pro-gold president, it'll be interesting to see how things develop. The Basel III compliance, which began actually in October the 1st, 2024 for big banks, specifically in their capital. Gold as a reserve for big banks and all banks was a requirement. It's going to be very interesting to see how the gold standard comes into play. And it's not as difficult as one may think. There may not even be a formal announcement of it, meaning the gold standard. Because the mechanism for a gold standard is already in place in the new digital banking system with the ISO 222 compliance. For example, with XRP and others. Because gold will be able to move through the new digital banking system digitally. Sounds a little better if I say electronically. But ladies and gentlemen, it's a golden time to be alive. Stay grounded. Stay focused. You can click the link at the top of the description and join many members who are establishing relationships with the actual bankers and these wealth managers that are preparing to usher them into a new golden era with exchanging their currencies and obtaining generational wealth. You should be next. Why not you? We love you. Take care.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.